Very good pieces on Khalid Abdullah, which is available in social media online at Facebook, and that was part 1. Part 2 was released last night, and there'll be a part 3 released later on this week. You can find that again on our social media Facebook pages, and of course LinkedIn through Twitter and other accounts as well. Welcome back to O'Neill's Grills. We continue with our weekly Fan and Press Luncheon as we will welcome in the JMU women's basketball head coach, Sean O'Regan. The Dukes are 5-3 after a 2-0 week that started off Friday with a 71-50 win at home against the Hampton Pirates. It was the 42nd consecutive game that the Dukes played at the Convocation Center with 2,000 or more fans. So we certainly do appreciate the support at the Convo. Taking you back to December the 20th, 2010, Dawn Evans scored 42 points in an 82-80 overtime win against Virginia. Some of you may recall that feat. Of course, Dawn gave us a lot of exciting ball games. Well, last night in Piscataway, New Jersey, unfortunately it wasn't at the Convocation Center, but it was a good place nonetheless to beat a Big Ten team on the road, Rutgers. It was Precious Hall, as Coach Houston alluded to, 46 points last night, 16 of those coming in the double overtime frames as the Dukes won 82-76. So after a big Big Ten win on the road, let's bring in the big Sean O'Regan. Coach?
Thanks, Kurt. It's funny you mentioned Dawn Evans. Dawn Evans scored those 42 on Kenny Brooks' 42nd birthday. And I'm only 35, but I feel like I was 46 last night. Gosh. No, I thought it was a really just gutsy win. I thought I was really impressed with our bounce back because we had the lead in both regulation and the first overtime, and they hit two ridiculous shots to tie it up. And I think it's easy for a team to fold in that situation. So I was really proud of our kind of bounce back and our gutsy performance. But yeah, it's nice to have somebody that can go off for 46 and feel like all I got to do is get her the ball. So Precious' performance was unbelievable, but we couldn't have done it. It's not just Precious. I thought we had great contributions from Tasia Butler, from Dee Dee Griffin, and from Lexi Berry. I thought Lexi's minutes were crucial. So everybody played a role in it, and it's just a gutsy team win. I was really impressed with it.
Listening to the game on the radio, Craig was talking about in the third quarter the defensive change that Rutgers made, especially on Precious. Kind of talk about how you had to work through that, if you will.
Yeah, I said at halftime, I said they would be foolish not to go box and one her, triangle and two her. And the first possession they did, and we scored, I think, on the first possession. But immediately in my mind, I was like, how am I going to get her the ball the rest of this game? Because that's what their plan is. So, for Precious is an unbelievable talent, but I think she elevates her game when you get more physical with her, and so I think it elevates her, and I think it helps her because it gets her to the line more. And again, she's 10 of 13 from the line. I think it actually helps if you try to be physical with her because she's a physical kid. So she doesn't back down from that. The one thing I told her was that you got 2 fouls, don't get a cheap one because they're poking you, But yeah, we worked it out as we went through it, and to her credit, she came up to me about the middle of the fourth and said, can we run some man sets? Like, they're not leaving me. Can we just run some man sets? I thought it was a great idea. So we ran a couple to try to free her up. So, yeah, I've been impressed with her throughout. But it's not the last time we'll get boxed and won at some point. So we'll get creative. But I think the best part about going against a box and one or triangle two is to keep your composure and run your same stuff. I really do. And it's not that, they're boxing one. That's fine. Go get open and go do your thing. And that's the next step was I was going to have her bring the ball up the floor so they can't take it away from her initially. So a couple different options. Certainly didn't slow her down. I mean, she had 19 in the first half, and in the next 30 minutes, I can't do the math on that quick, but I think it was more 19. So she did fine.
How important of a win was it last night? We've talked about some of the close calls you guys had against Tennessee and Iowa. How important was it for you guys to close it out against a Power 5 team?
Extremely. Extremely. And I don't want to say it like that. I never felt like we were going to lose, but I felt like we had to finally shake loose. And so Precious's face, I don't know if a camera caught that. I haven't seen the telecast yet, but her face after regulation was almost like we lost because she hit the shot to put us up 2. We did exactly what we wanted to do, and they came down and threw up a prayer and got it. So it was really important for us to understand we're not putting away, a MEAC school on the road. We're putting away a Big Ten school at their place that's feeling pretty good. So it was extremely important for us and our morale and moving forward, understanding, these are the plays that you have to make to come up with the victory. So, again, extremely important.
Was there something different about Precious last night? I mean, she shot, more than 50% of her shots for the first time all season. Was there something different about her or her shot selection, or did the shots just happen to fall?
No, I swear. I swear, when the pressure amps up on her, she goes up. And so she got going in the first half. They're playing zone, so she's free to move, right? So I think she got a couple to go early, and she's feeling good. And I think when they bring the pressure onto her, I think she elevates her game. It's almost like more of a challenge. And to see her in the second overtime, when we finally knew it was over, Logan was at the line, and it was I think it ended up being a 6-point. She came up to me. It's like a release, of like, we got this finally. So I don't think there was anything different. I think when the pressure elevates on her, I think she elevates her game. I think we just did, as a team, a better job taking care of the ball down the stretch. And again, we didn't close it out perfectly, but I thought we forced Rutgers to have to make great plays, and they did.
Little March Madness in December. How does a game like that kind of mentally prepare you, give you some mental confidence as a team for those big games that you want to play down the stretch late in the season? Sure,
and they all do. It was the end of the third quarter. They had made a run on us at the end of the third, and we made like a 4 or 5 point run to get it back. I think it was 43-39, something like that. And I told him, I said, look, you remember the Liberty game? Like, Liberty, I think Liberty is a talented team. I know they haven't had success quite much this season, but they made a run on us in the third quarter too, and you got to stand there, hold your ground, and make plays to follow through. So the same thing happened here. It's just a difference because it's a Big Ten team. So I think our confidence has got to be pretty high with that and being able to close it out. But it's something to be said, and I'll reference it. I'm a believer that you learn something from every game, and that's something I'll definitely hold on to, and we'll come back to when I need that. I'll hold that in my back pocket.
I'm sure you'd like to have a day or 2 off, but you've got about 2 weeks off now. How does that factor into keeping momentum going? And I know you got some folks that are down. Will that give you some time to get some people back?
Yeah, no, I think it's a perfect time for us, to be honest with you. And I didn't know if it would plan out that way, and if we end up, losing in the end of the first overtime, I'm probably sick to my stomach right now for these 2 weeks. But it's going to be great for us. I gave him today off. We'll probably give him some time this weekend because the really important thing here is that academics is, the reason they're all here, and so it gives them a good time where we're not planning for a game on Saturday, and players have finals on Saturday. I mean, we have players on our team with finals on Saturday, and this week, I was a student once too. It's more of a prep week for you for finals. So I think it's good to alleviate the game pressure. And then for us, we're gonna examine: do we need to mess with a different defense, or do we need to mess with a little bit more of an offense? Because even Rutgers, I mean, we practice Saturday, Sunday, but it's light. Precious plays 37 minutes at Hampton, so I'm not trying to put her through too much stuff. So we needed to work through some of the press break stuff that I knew Rutgers was going to do with us. We didn't have that much of a chance to do it. So it'll give us a chance to prep for St. John's. And then, you think about it, you got one more game till Christmas, So I think it's a really perfect time for us. And I'm excited about it now that we, came out with that 276 victory. Yeah.
And springboarding off of that, will that give you time to do your Christmas shopping?
Yeah. I usually do that about the 23rd. That's usually my threshold right there.
What are some of the key things you would like to try to work on during these, 2 weeks off?
I'm not exactly sure yet. I want to explore, I think we've got a chance to be, and don't hold me to this, but I think we got a chance to be a little bit more of a pressure defensive team. So, Kamaya Smalls is great, and if I feel like I'm handcuffing her a little bit because I don't let her get out in the passing lanes as much as I think she wants to. I think Ania could play like that. I think we have a couple kids that could really understand how to deny. And I've experienced that on the other end where I think if you're denying, sometimes you can overpower a team that's not to your level. The way we play now, we play a packed defense, so we let people pass the ball around essentially. And I flirted with that idea a little bit, but I don't exactly know, Josh, until I sit down. We're going to meet for too many hours than my staff wants probably, and throw some ideas out there of different ways to get Precious the ball. I don't know. I don't think there's been a common theme with our opponents on how they're guarding us. I don't think many people have tried. I mean, the zone, Iowa's zone, the 1-3-1 was different and effective, but there hasn't been a pattern of here's the blueprint on how to stop James Madison. If there was, then I would go attack that. If we were like really bad against the zone or something like that, then I would be attacking that. So that's what I'm going to kind of examine is see where our holes are and attack them.
So it seems like this is sort of a time for you guys to, as a coaching staff, to I don't want to say experiment, but like experiment a little bit and sort of figure out what new wrinkles you can add.
Yeah. It's kind of honestly, it's like a football bye week to me. It's like a football bye week where you get some rest, you get healthy, you prepare, and if you want to change anything, now's the time. We might not. We might just stick to it because what I've experienced since the Cancun trip is that we really stuck down and got down to our defensive principles. I think it's been pretty good to us. I mean, Rutgers, we went zone more than I thought because they don't shoot the three well until they make 6 last night, of course. But that's been the pattern for us all year is that whatever a team's averaging from three, they make a couple more than that. But yeah, it's a little break for us to examine. We might not change anything, but if we maybe we put another press in or something, something like that. It's a time to add some things if we want to.
Coach, if we will talk about Logan Reynolds. I watched the game Friday night, and I thought there in the first one it was kind of close. She was really a key point in you being able to take a step forward and keep separated. Just talk about her play and what she brings to your team.
I think Logan is. I think Logan has been absolutely outstanding for us the last 2 games, and she goes really unnoticed. She really does. But what I've learned with her is that she's our point guard. Now, the Kamaya Smalls thing is tempting to put her with the ball in her hands because she's talented and now she can make a play. But we need stability, and we need leadership, and we need somebody to find Precious, and we need somebody to distribute. And Logan's intangibles are greater than her whole game right now. So I'm thoroughly impressed with her progress. She's not there, but she's she's an 8-game in sophomore point guard that didn't play that much last year. So the one thing that she knows as well as anybody knows, I'm picking at her. I want her to be way more aggressive. And last night when we swing it to the other guard and they swing it back to Logan, I want you to go and make a play. I want you to be ready to shoot at the top of the key all night long. And I think there's going to be a moment where it clicks with her and she's going to get really dangerous. But for right now, I mean, she's got to be in at the end of the game. And it really helps us, get the ball up the floor and get it into the right people's hands, and that's what a point guard does. So her stat line is not yet what maybe the public wants, but she's on her way, man. She's on her way, and I'm really proud of her progress so far.
I know a freshman's allowed to have a bad game this early in her career, but was there something you saw last night with Kamaya that sort of she struggled with, maybe more than she has in the past?
Yeah, I felt they got to her somehow, and I don't know exactly what it was, but they got her with a couple reach around steals early, and the athleticism. I thought she was a little bit tentative to start. I thought our whole team was a little bit tentative to start, including Precious, including Logan, but I think she just gone off to a just a shaky start, and you know what it wouldn't have turned out, I don't think. Her stat line turns out she ends up playing 26 minutes if Lexi Berry wasn't playing so well, because I would have gone back with her. But I put Lexi in the game. She started playing really well, and it gave me another option. So it was like, all right, I'm going to ride Lexi here for a little bit and see. But the amount of times I asked our assistants, what do you think? Do I go back with Kamaya right now? I mean, we were having a debate the whole time on the bench. So, I'm not worried about Kamaya. I think Kamaya is going to be a superstar. I think she's absolutely great. I think she's bound to have an off game every once in a while. I mean, everybody does. So I'm not worried about her. She's got to get back to, the fact she only got 2 rebounds in her minutes That's unlike her, So again, those little things is where she's got to start from, and the scoring and stuff like that. She's best, Josh, when it's a transition game, and Rutgers does a good job making it a possession game. So I don't know if that's a factor either. But
You talked about Lexi there playing well. Can you kind of talk about her development over the past couple of games? It seemed like she's finally getting back to the form that you've been expecting her to play from the get-go.
Yeah, and I put a lot of it on me. I put a lot of it on me in the sense that what I've learned about Lexi is she's a player that operates with my trust. So if she plays 2 minutes and makes a mistake and I pull her out, she's not ready to battle through that. You know what I mean? She's more of a kid like, you're going to be fine, play through that, I believe in you sort of thing. And since we've done that, I think she's taken off. And she's done a lot of it herself, too. The buckets she had in Iowa down the stretch of that game I thought were huge. And she proved to me today, I mean, she's similar to Logan, shoot it. Everybody's yelling, shoot it. Like, take that shot, be aggressive. And she can do that. But I believe in Lexi quite a bit as far as where she'll be throughout her career. I think she's going to be a really good player for us. And when we're watching the game, I'm so confident with her having the ball. She's unaggressive going to the rim sometimes, but she takes care of the ball great. A pass fake and a bounce pass to beat the press. Those sort of things. I'm growing to trust her more and more. And it proved last night. I mean, I don't think she was ready to play 34 minutes going into that game, but she did, and she played great. She's a quality defender. She's got a high IQ. I'm very high on her.
With this being your first year, I'm wondering, have you gotten that moment yet where, and maybe last night was that moment for you where you look back and say, hey, I was head coach of that team?
No, I had a couple moments last night. Let's get that straight. But no, it's one of those ones like that. That's the first game in my mind that we've really been tested with situations. And coming down the stretch of, do you call a timeout now? Do you let them play? And that was the first. The other ones, it's it's an 8-point game or a 10-point game, so you don't have to make those nip-tuck decisions. So yeah, that was probably one of my moments, but. I'm used to standing up now. I'll tell you that. But it's you can't get the information out fast enough. I wish we had another timeout. And we've practiced this, but at the end of regulation we had a foul to give. So with 2 seconds, are we ready for that yet? Where can we do that? Somebody recognizes that on the fly and grabs that kid at half court, and now there's 0.7 seconds instead of the kid goes coast to coast and drops in a floater. So. Those things I think we got to continue to get better at, and I certainly wasn't about to do it on the fly. The last time I told somebody to do something on the fly was Lexi Barrier, and the Hampton kid hit the half-court shot. I told her to let her go, and she let her go, and there you go. So I didn't want to do anything on the fly. I was hoping they would just back rim that thing and we'd go home. So,
with the work you guys did last week on finishing, I know you guys ended up winning the game, but was there disappointment, frustration with the fact you guys couldn't close it out either at the end of regulation or overtime?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. At the end of regulation, I told you Precious's face was down, and I tried to, like, hey, man, this is fun. This is supposed to be a fun thing. This is like what you live for. I mean, you're in overtime at Rutgers, and I tried to lift him up a little bit. Well, at the end of the first overtime, I came to the huddle and said, look, man, I said this was fun, but I don't want to do this all night. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think we made big mistakes down the stretch. Again, they made plays. I mean, I looked at the when we went up 8 with 2:26 to go. So we hit a 3 to go up 8. I mean, 10 seconds later, the kid hits a 3, and it wasn't we didn't make a huge mistake. Kid makes a play and hits a 3. We go down. I thought we got a decent shot. We come back down. Kid hits another 3. Okay, and now it's a 2-point game. Now we go ball screen with Precious. She throws it to Tasia Butler, and we got a wide open layup. I mean, that's a little mistake. She could have finished that, and we go home. But I didn't think we played poorly down the stretch. I think they just made good plays down the stretch. And so, I think I'm gonna be working on finishing until April. And I just think we're gonna continue. We're gonna have to be able to close games. But I didn't think we made glaring mistakes or anything like that down the stretch. I think Rutgers just tipped my hat to them.
now that you have this long break, how would you assess this first quarter or so of the season? Obviously, I guess the record is kind of where you would expect it to be given the opposition, but how do you assess this first quarter?
Yeah, overall, I'm pleased. The fact you lose Kayla Cooper-Williams in an exhibition game, and what we lost, that's 4 starters we lose. The fact we're 5-3, and in my estimation, have a chance to be 7-1. I mean, again, you're not close enough to do it, but I'm pleased. I think Precious has been all I've wanted her to be. Dee Dee Griffin has come along great, and I think we're getting outstanding contributions from the freshmen. Logan's still learning, and what I'm learning more and more every day as far as who the rotation is, what everybody's strengths are. But I'm really pleased with where we're at. As long as we're not satisfied with where we're at. So I'm pleased with our progress so far, but we're a third of the way through. We got a long way to go, and as long as we're improving, and as long as we don't think we've arrived by any means, then I'll be okay with that. We got to come with a workman's mentality every day, and we will.
Coach O'Regan, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on the victory last night, and have a nice little break there. The Dukes' next competition is December the 21st, an 11 a.m. game, which will present its own set of challenges when they head back up to New York to face St. John's. Congratulations again, Coach. Thank you. Here at O'Neill's Grill.